Hello, everybody. Thank you for coming today. It's always a blessing to be with you. I knew a woman who was approached by a married man for a date, and she didn't like him anyway, but she told him, I don't date married men. Then, about a year later, he came back to her and said, Well, I'm not married anymore. Let's have our date. And she finally had to tell him that it wasn't so much that he was married, although that was a big factor, but she was not interested in developing a relationship with him. And that was the end of the discussion. And so when you make excuses that are not the real reason, eventually you have to come back to the real reason. That's the way truth works. Truth will never let you wiggle out with an excuse because the purpose of a situation is to bring truth to the surface. And as long as you're hiding the truth, the situation or one like it will continue. I coached a woman the other day she's a Japanese woman who works in the school system. She has a prestigious high-level administrative job. And she's not crazy about the job. It's mostly for the money. But she has to travel. She has to commute an hour and a half in each direction every day. And she's exhausted. And they asked her, would you like to become the principal of a school in the system? And she was attracted because it was a prestigious position and she also make more money. But she said, I'm dying in the job already. And I said, well, if you're dying in a job that's already no good, then if it gets harder, it's not going to be any more fun. She said, yeah, I told them that I had to take care of my mother, which I did. So that put off the answer for a while. And then COVID hit, and that put the answer off for a while, but now COVID's lightening up. She said, I don't know what to tell them. I said, why not you just tell them the truth? That the job isn't for you and you're tired of commuting. I said, what would you like to do? She said, well, I'd like to develop my coaching career and I'd like to do lectures on interesting topics, and I'd like to write. And as she was mentioning these passionate visions of her energy was rising, rising, rising. And when she talked about the school system, it was going down, down, down. So we finally got to the point where she was willing to tell them that she would just prefer not to take the job. And she looked so liberated. She looked so healed. And so every situation is calling for us to speak the truth. And until we do, we're not going to feel healed. And we're also not going to get results. Ken Blanchard, who's a well-known business guru, said, when you're just interested in something, you do it only when it's convenient. When you're committed, you accept only results, not excuses. And so we might say, it's kind of an oversimplification, but we might say that there's two kinds of people. There are excuses people and there are results people. So in my life now, I'm working only with results people. I'm doing my best to be a results person only. And honesty is such a key factor in getting results. There's a perfect relationship between honesty and results. Once I was sitting on a beach with three other people. I was in Maui, and there's a married couple there, another lady, and this couple's married, but they were getting a divorce, but they were still hanging out together for some reason. And they were barbing each other and jabbing each other, and I don't know why they're hanging out because they obviously didn't like each other. It was uncomfortable to be with them. And then they said to me and this other lady who happened to be there, oh, we just bought a property together in this beautiful area of Maui. Would you like to come see it? And it was a long ride, like 2.5, 3 hours. And I thought to myself, oh boy, I'm not going to sit in the car with you guys for 5 hours or 6 hours. So I made up a white lie. I said, I have another commitment. And in my mind, I'm thinking, oh, anything besides being with you is another commitment. And the other lady who was there was more direct. She said, in general, that sounds like fun, but you guys are so mean to each other and you're saying such nasty things to each other. I can't imagine sitting in the car with you for all those hours. And they laughed and they said, yeah, we understand. We don't like being with each other either. And it was just so refreshing to hear her speak the truth. It was like she cut through all the BS and we got to the truth that, well, these people were not happy together and they weren't having fun with each other, neither were we with them. And so when people speak their truth, it's refreshing, isn't it? It's like, I just love people who just tell it like it is. I had a friend many years ago, her name was Tracy, and we were in this spiritual community. And what I liked about Tracy was that she was perfectly honest all the time. You never had to figure out what was on her mind. What you see is what you get. I felt so safe with her because there was no hidden agenda. And once I invited her to attend the yoga class I was teaching, she said, oh, yoga, that's so boring. And I wasn't insulted. That was her. She was like a high energy gal. She didn't want to sit still for yoga. And then once I had a pimple on my nose, and she said, oh, where'd you get that zit? That looks pretty bad. And you couldn't get mad at her because she was like a child. She was just innocent. And I just valued my friendship with her. And she was never mean. She was just honest. And some people are brutally honest. And what I heard about brutal honesty is that people who are brutally honest are more interested in brutality than honesty. And I've had to be honest in many uncomfortable situations. I've had to initiate breakups or let people go from their job or end a tenancy. And I've found over many years of practice that you can say just about anything with love and kind intention. And it works, even firing somebody or creating a breakup. Because what people feel is not so much the words you're saying, even not so much the situation you're describing, but where you're coming from. And so when you have good intention and you have a strong feeling this is going to be best for everybody, you can say it and people will not feel offended. They can take offense if they want to, but in general, when you're coming from kindness and caring and compassion and willingness to have everything work, somehow everything works. So this is tied to excuses and results because everything is intention. You understand? I had a woman who was working for me once, and I asked if she'd mind picking up some toner on the way home from work. And she said, sure, no problem, because the toner store was near her house. And first day came, she said, oh, I couldn't find the place. And the second day came, I got there after they closed. The third day came, I forgot which toner to get. So I realized eventually that she did not wish to do this, which was fine. And if she had told me on day one, I don't wish to do this, it would have been a lot easier. I just went down and picked it up myself. It was no big deal. She didn't have to do it. And I realized, boy, when people are honest about what they want to do and what they don't want to do, everything starts working out much better. Now, I have people who work with me now who are result people. I have a woman in Japan who represents my work there, and a fellow in India who represents my work there. And it's so refreshing and exciting to work with people who just get the job done. And when they say they're going to do something, they do it. If there's a deadline, they do it. If there's a financial thing involved, they get it handled. And I feel so relaxed and so inspired and so confident to work with them because they do what they say they're going to do. They have no excuses. And they're very successful. And they get big success from me, and they're into profit sharing, and they get big success for themselves. I thought, wow, there are people out there who do what they say they're going to do, and they don't have excuses. Wow, let me find them. Let me be one of them. Wow, and the more integrity I have by dropping my own excuses, the more I attract people who don't have excuses. Now, there's one more angle on this, and that's the idea of trying. Yoda in Empire Strikes Back said, he asked Luke he's teaching Luke how to telepathically raise a spaceship out of the mud. And Luke said, I'll try. And what did Yoda say? Famous line, there is no try, only do. Well, he's teaching a major spiritual lesson, that trying is lying. When anybody tells me I'll try to be there, I'll try to get this done, I immediately write it off and think, they're not going to show up. They're not going to do it, because in a conscious person's world, there is no trying, there is no doing. And if some of you know Bashar, the spiritual teacher Bashar, if somebody's coaching says to him, I'll try to do it, I'm trying to do it, he says, you're what? And he'll keep challenging them until they drop the word try from their vocabulary. we were walking our dogs the other day, and we were walking past this guy's house, and you're supposed to keep your dogs on a leash or on the fence in our neighborhood. He had his big dog off leash, and his dog was known to be kind of a pushy dog. And so the dog approached our dogs, and I said to him, would you mind calling your dog back onto your property? And he goes like this, oh, Jeanette. The dog name was Jeanette. And Jeanette couldn't even hear him. She didn't pay attention to him. And I said, would you mind calling your dog? He said, I'm trying. He goes, Jeanette. I was like, he wasn't really trying. You know, he could have been more adamant, or he could have come and taken the dog and bring it back on the property. And finally, the dog just ran off, and he had to get in the car and chase the dog down the road somewhere. That was how much he'd been trying to keep the dog away from our dogs. And I said to Dee, I said, boy, that's like the weakest try I ever heard. Oh, Jeanette. He didn't really have an intention to call the dog back. Everything comes back to intention. Wayne Dyer wrote a book called The Power of Intention. That's a great title, because intention has power. And if you're not getting a result, you don't have an intention. It's as simple as that. If you're getting mixed results, you have mixed intentions. So, results or lack thereof are a great mirror to what our intention is. And when I coach somebody, I tell them that you can always tell what you believe, what your intention is, by what you're getting. So that's the purpose of the world. It's a mirror of our intentions. As long as you think that the world has power independent of you, and the world is stopping you from getting results, then you're disowning the creative power which with God has imbued you and all of us. Creative people get results, not excuses. And, we use our body and our illnesses and our physical situations, or astrology or numerology or all kinds of esoteric sciences, often as excuses to not do what we really wish to do. Now, there's value in all esoteric sciences, but often people misuse them, and they become victims of the stars rather than creators of their life. And let's say in a relationship, you say to your partner, I don't wish to be intimate with you tonight because I have a headache. Well, I would say in almost every case, there's more to the headache than just a headache. There's usually something going on in the relationship that is not being spoken. And the word intimacy means intimacy. If you want to create more intimacy in all of your relationships, you have to be more open about what's going on inside you. So if that person who does not wish to be intimate, and they're already not intimate because they didn't tell the truth. Well, I'm upset with you about this. I feel guilty about this, or this thing happened and it jarred me. There could be a lot of reasons behind the headache. And so we often use our physical body as a reason to deflect what we really wish to say. And I told the example even just a few weeks ago, but it's such a perfect example, I'll tell it again, that I coached a woman on the radio who had had a bad marriage and gotten a painful divorce, and she put on a bunch of weight, and she was trying to lose weight. And I asked her, is there any way you believe the weight might serve you? You're choosing it for some reason. She said, well, to be honest, I don't really want to be with a man again. And perhaps on some level, I have a belief that the extra weight is they keep a man at a distance. And I said, would you be willing to say no to men without needing your weight to say it for you? She had a big aha. I could do that. Yes, you could. You could be direct with your communication rather than using the body or physical situation to say no for you. So really, all of life is an invitation to tell more truth. And when we tell more truth, we're empowered. Like that Japanese lady who got so free when she decided that she didn't want to take that job and she could just say, I do not prefer this job. That opened a whole new door for her to live a whole new life of coaching and writing and speaking. That was where her joy lived. And so you do not need excuses to be yourself. You can just say, this is who I am. And this is what I choose. And this is what I wish my life to be. And this is what Spirit is calling me to do. And this is what's up next for me. And this is what I do not prefer. And this is what I do prefer. All of life is an adventure in claiming honest preferences and honest willingnesses. Because when you recognize that Spirit is guiding you, and when you feel passionate, excited about something, that Spirit is pushing you in that direction. The same Spirit, the same God, the same higher power that put the passion in you will give you ways and open the doors to it. And the minute you say, this is my direction, and this is what I choose, you attract all kinds of people and situations and things that empower you to claim your true choice. That's the power of intention and the power of telling the truth rather than making excuses. How fun is that? What a life that is. Ooh, that makes you want to get up in the morning, doesn't it? I hope this is valuable to you. Before we close, I want to mention that I do have a program that's starting next May. It's called Soul and Destiny. It's an 8-week intensive, intimate webinar series on telling the truth about where our destiny lives and what we would really choose and how we can take back the power we've given to outer circumstances. It's based on my new book, Soul and Destiny, which will be out mid-April. And I'd love to have you join me on my webinar series. There's a discount, a big discount if you sign up before the end of March. So go to my website, alancohen.com, and there's an icon where you can sign up. Thank you so much for coming today. I hope this is helpful to you. Let's be empowered by our choices and take back the power we've given to the outer world, because all power is in here where God bestowed it. Thanks so much for coming today.